If your fantasy team is getting out of hand, then come on down to Fantasyland. We'll give you advice to make your team really sick. This is our fantasy football show.
Biatch!
Hello and welcome to Fantasyland Part 2.
Fantasyland Pimpin'. My name is Pimpin' Ass JD. Know what I'm saying?
And I'm
Coming through you.
And I'm Matty G, the OG gangster from San Lorenzo, California.
Here we go. You know what I'm saying? Big week last week. A lot of people scored big. We had Chad Johnson had his big game. LT had his big game. Fast Willie Parker had his big game last week.
Oh man, he almost
You know
saved
what
my
I'm saying?
team. Almost saved my team. Jeremy Shockey didn't have the week that I thought he was going to, and therefore, Matty G is now 7-3. But I still got to win this week. I got to win all the rest of my games just so I can get into the playoffs and beat everybody up really bad.
Speaking of beating everyone up, that leads us to the injury report for the week, taking us to the hot chick.
Fabulous. Injury report. Okay. Coming back from a concussion this week is Kansas City quarterback Trent Green. Green is a risky start though, with Tony Gonzalez doubtful with a shoulder injury. Okay, I hate that. Doubtful with a shoulder injury. Blah. I feel weird about that one. Let's do another one. 49ers running back Frank Gore suffered a concussion in last week's game versus Detroit. So keep an eye on him as we close in on Sunday's game. And finally, injury-prone Redskins running back Clinton Portis is out for the year with a broken hand. Big surprise there. It's probably too late to pick up Liddell Betts. I bet I could still pick him up. So those are the big injuries this week. Back to you guys.
Awesome. That'll way to be, hot chick.
Thanks, hot chick.
Thank you so
That was
much.
very
Always
awesome.
a pleasure to see
Very
you.
awesome.
And now we're starting out the games of the week. This week, first game, Cincinnati versus New Orleans. Last week, Chad Johnson had a monster week, 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. Made all you fantasy owners happy. Reggie Bush actually came through for me last week. 40 receiving yards, 40 rushing yards, and a touchdown. This week, he's a definite start. You're going to want to put him in. Cincinnati, New Orleans, that's going to be a good game.
Which brings us to Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And if you got anybody on Cleveland in this game, they're probably injured or they probably suck. So don't start them at all, please. But on the Pittsburgh end, Ben Roethlisberger going to have another big week. Hines Ward, always down for some big plays and some big touchdowns. So get them in there. And for the dominating pick of the week, we toss it over to the hot chick.
Dominating pick of the week. This week's dominating pick is Fast Willie Parker. This week's dominating pick is Fast Willie Brown. Third time's a charm. This week's dominating pick is Fast Willie Parker versus that terrible Cleveland Browns team. But what do I know? I thought this was baseball season.
Back to the games.
That
All
was
right,
cool,
now
that
we're going
was
to do
cool.
Philly at Tennessee. Oh, sorry, Philly versus Tennessee. It's at Philly this week. Look for Tennessee to get mauled. That Philly defense, they're going to blitz Vince Young. Vince is screwed. He had 200 yards last week, an interception, a rushing touchdown, and that was against Baltimore. And Baltimore doesn't blitz as much as Philly does. Philly is going to be all up in his ass. And McNabb should go off because McNair had 370 and 3 touchdowns against him. So you know McNabb's going to go off on him.
Which brings us to New York Giants and Jacksonville Jaguars. This is going to be a tough game for many people to watch because it's going to be a defensive battle. Jacksonville did not look very good last week as David Garrard threw 4 interceptions, and Byron Leftwich actually might return this week, so it's going to be really hard to pick a quarterback out of that game. Fred Taylor, always an injury risk, so be careful if you're going to start anybody on Jacksonville unless it's their defense against the New York Giants, whose offense has also struggled as of late, with Eli Manning not really looking like the same quarterback that he was.
Definitely not. Maurice Jones-Drew, my boy, though.
You know, to take a look at where everybody else is going to be on Monday night, let's take a look. Remember the draft, JD?
I remember the draft.
The crazy guys that we had at the
Yes,
draft.
I do.
Well, we decided to take a camera to their houses and film them and see how they spend their Monday nights watching football.
So we went to Texas Diz and Surfer G
That's right.
And we're going to see how they watch Monday Night Football.
Check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy.
Welcome to my humble adobe.
Oh, shit!
I'm Surfer G.
My name is Texas Dez,
I wanted to show you guys how I spend my Monday nights.
the finest American beer there is, still reserved.
I just gotta find my keys real quick.
Spared no expense on this one, boys.
My keys are always a mystery.
We were talking about my fantasy team.
Dante Culpepper. Well, he got hurt, dude, so I picked up Joey Harrington.
Bill Parcells, I'm telling you.
I also got Ronnie Brown.
We've got Emmett Smith.
I got Harold Miner.
I'm fully convinced he's coming out of retirement.
No, wait. He's on the Heat.
And we got T.O., you know.
Ronnie Brown. Chris Chambers.
You know I had to have a head case on my team.
I have Dolphins defense.
The Texas defense.
Randy McMichael. And I have a hot dog.
Mad swarm of angry geese came.
Where's my keys at?
Stampede of angry baby cattle.
So, I couldn't find my keys.
Fantasyland, it's been good seeing y'all again. Y'all come back anytime soon. Kick it with me and my wild geese.
Insane.
Don't know what those guys have been drinking.
Characters.
Yeah, definitely. All right, back to the games. New England versus Green Bay. Green Bay is absolutely screwed because their team is not that good. Ahman Green had 50 yards last week. Do not expect very much more out of him this week against a good New England defense. New England's pissed because they lost last week. Look for Brady to have a monster day. He had 250, a touchdown last week, and that was against a better Jets team. Now imagine what he's going to do against Green Bay. Look for New England and the slaughter on this one. Team Matty G's Raiders, that reminds me of the
Yeah, Hellraisers, that's right, because we raised some hell, dude. Anyways, let's get back to real football. St. Louis at Carolina. Ugh, I'm sorry to say, but Carolina is one of the most boring football teams to watch on the planet. All they do is Steve Smith, Steve Smith, Steve Smith. Deshaun Foster sucks. Any running back on their team sucks. I don't care about D'Angelo Williams. St. Louis, on the other hand, a very exciting team to watch. Look for Torrey Holt to have a big week this week with Mark Bulger hitting them for some long passes. And Steven Jackson, always a terror on that field.
You know it. And that brings us to the sleeper pick of the week.
Oh. Whoops, sorry. This week's sleeper pick is Buffalo Anthony Thomas. Buffalo's Anthony Thomas. Look for him to have a good week. Look for him to have a good game. Sorry, I'm really tired. Look for him to have a good week versus the Texans in a game that would put even the most devout football fans back to sleep. Thinking about it gives me a nightmare.
Which just brings us to our final segment of the day.
You're screwed.
JD, should we bring in the hot chick?
I think we should.
I think so
Let's
too.
do it.
1, 2. Oh.
Poof.
What's up, dude?
What's up, hot
Hello,
chick?
guys.
I'm gonna do this more often.
Snap your fingers.
What
and
do you
I will
say?
Hey, okay. If Clinton Portis was your first round pick, and yes, that means you, Marcel.
You're screwed.
Wow. Orlando Pace is out for the season, so if you have Steven Jackson,
You're screwed. Marvell.
if you thought Michael Vick was the next Steve Young after 2 good games,
Your name's Matty G, and you are screwed.
Wait, what?
sorry, Matty G, sorry. If Art Shell is the head coach of your favorite team,
Yeah!
You're screwed.
What?
And you're a Raiders fan.
Who wrote this?
Double
And
whammy.
finally, when
Jeez.
someone mentions rehab and all you can think about is the Hard Rock Pool in Vegas, you're screwed.
You're screwed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us here at the freaking Fantasyland show.
My name is Pimpin' Ass JD.
And my name is still Matty G.
And I have no name, I'm just the hot chick.
Excellent. Thank y'all for joining us for our second show. Pleasure being with y'all.
It was our pleasure.
Peace.
Thanks, guys.